Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Got that deep down, dark Wolfie woof right there to start off the episode. Maybe Wolfie has a cold too. Nope, he's fine. He's fine. I have a cold. Dang it. So we're recording this episode before it really destroys my whole nasal and esophageal passageways. Here live on Twitch for episode 746 of Farlands or Bust. As we continue west here, this episode going to come out on Saturday, July 20th, 2019, the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing on the moon. I have no other sort of connection to that event that I'm going to be doing in this episode. I'm not going to be building like a lunar lander or anything like that. It's just worth mentioning. It just happened to be that we're recording this episode the day prior on Friday. It's going to come out on July 20th, 2019. There's a lot of websites and streams that are like replaying the mission in real time, which is very cool. I believe it's at like 1:03 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. That is like when the actual broadcast began 50 years ago. And NASA is going to be replaying the broadcast like in its entirety as it was. NASA, or somebody is. Many people are. But it's kind of really neat. They're also like projecting a big Saturn V onto the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. Do I have enough wool? I could always use more. Which is really cool. It'd have been really cool if they also projected the launch, but it's just kind of a static... It's not a static image. There's movement to it. There's like the LOX venting and stuff like that, but that's pretty neat. Like it ends up projecting full size. It's neat little stuff going on. So yeah. Woof indeed. Woof indeed. You know what else is indeed? Charity. Charity for direct relief. That's what we're raising money for this season of Farlands or Bust. Ooh, I need wood. I also need donations and questions at farlandsorbust.com. That's where you can donate. We're currently at $26,234.57 raised for direct relief charity. Thank you, everybody who continues to donate and provides questions. The new goal, remember the goal right now on the website, Wolfie, what in the world? Is that a thorny tree? A thorny bush? A thorn in your sides? Oop. The goal on the website says $50,000, but the actual goal is based on the size of our Minecraft world save here in Farlands or Bust. And today, it is 27,720.60 megabytes. So we need to raise $27,720. The further I keep walking, the higher that number gets. Only by like, I don't know, like 200 or so megabytes each episode, but still, gotta keep up, gotta catch up, gotta get on that donation train. So yeah, farlandsorbust.com is where you can find more about that, and a direct link to the Tiltify campaign where you can upload some charitable givings. Money, that is, where you can donate and ask a question. And I do have quite a few questions. Y'all answered the call, and I am going to hang up. No, let's actually jump right into them. We got quite a few, and also this is a lot easier than me trying to come up with actual independent thoughts because my brain no worky. It's hopped up on gluten-free chocolate chip cookies and Dayquil. Enyon asks, have you watched the series Stranger Things? Season 3 was just released a week ago. Well, a week ago when you donated, but I did, and just the other night we finished Season 3. It was interesting and fun. Like, I feel like they're running out of, like, original... It's not as original as, like, the first season was. It's just a continuation for the characters and stuff. But, yeah, we watched it. I didn't watch it when it first came out because I didn't have Netflix. I still technically don't have Netflix. Shh. Secrets. But, Farlands are, like, right there. What did I do? What happened? Chat is either, like, delayed and really slow, or I said something that I don't remember, and... Oh, I see. I understand. Somebody came into chat and asked how long until the Farlands. Very much longer. Very much longer indeed. We won't know until we raise $27,720 for direct relief. That's when I'll press F3. Sorry, I shouldn't pay attention to chat. Never do. So yeah, we watched Stranger Things. It's one of those. It's one of those things that are strange. That I don't want to get into like another series. Because I started Stranger Things after the second season was already up and out, is when I gained access to a Netflix account. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll watch this. But at the same time, it's like, okay, now that I'm done with that, is there anything else to watch? But the only things that there are to watch are things that have already been out multiple seasons. Therefore, I'm like 40 episodes behind, and I'm like, I don't have that type of endurance. I don't have that type of... I'm not that inspired to watch through. I'm not much of a binger. I'll maybe at most watch 2 episodes of something and then be like, all right, that's enough. And then get on with my life or go to bed or whatever. So, yeah. I did, and I have, and whoa, this is a cliff. Let's not go that way, Wolfie. An anonymous donor asked, what are your thoughts on video game emulation? Ah, Wolfie. Wolfie's having some true problems with these little trees. What are your thoughts? Hold on, I need to actually concentrate on not falling off this large hill here. All right, this, All right, take it easy, will ya? Oh, Lord. I knew it. Wolfie, stop it. You dang noodle. Go over here. What are your thoughts on video game emulation? If I can only purchase old games and consoles from third-party sellers, should emulation still be considered stealing from the manufacturer or developer? Anonymous. Well, they'll sure consider it. They'll sure consider it indeed. And they've gone as far enough to make reselling video games a nigh impossibility. What with digital downloads and game keys that are locked to your platform or your system. So yeah, that is a big question in video games, isn't it, lately? Like, if... Like what happens to the archive of old games if the systems, either, like, Windows systems, or platforms, or consoles, no longer exist, or are rare or hard to find? What happens to that media? Like movies and stuff, similarly, they started out on film. Okay, so like some old movies, people are taking it upon themselves to digitize so that they may be archived as the film the ability to play back film and also the ability to store film and preserve film is harder and harder. There's a similar question with video games, and of course, the video game developers are very... I don't want to say they're all against, but the whole copyright thing and emulation and who owns the ROMs and the code, even if there's no money to be made, you're going to bet your top dollar that they're going to defend their copyrights regardless of whether or not they're making any money off of it or anybody else is making money off of it, even if it's a free museum-grade archival process. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. Okay, that hurts a little. Doing that hurts a little. Oh, the nasals. Oh, the nasals. The nasals are not happy with that. So yeah, I just, in general, I don't, like, I'm perfectly fine with that. I might even resort to trying to see if there's an emulator I can use, because I would really, personally, I would really like to play Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 3. I have physical copies. I have a PlayStation 2, but it does... Oh, Jesus! Good Lord, Wolfie! That was unnecessary. Oh, that was a net loss. You got some food, but then you took many, many damages. Hey, Wolfie. Oi! 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 This rambunctious... You gotta get you on Ritalin or something. Calm down! What was I saying? Oh yeah, I might... Because I know there are PlayStation emulators. And ROMs and things like that. I haven't delved into that. I many years ago, I think even before I started YouTube, I tried that out, and I remember finding like a Destruction Derby, like the original Destruction Derby, and like Gran Turismo and Tomb Raider, Siphon Filter, and I had that on my old computer, so I'm sure they exist. And if you don't tell, I won't tell. If I am somehow able to stream Tomb Raider 2 and 3, it'll probably be by way of an emulator. Might have better, more complete content that includes the music, and with an emulator, perhaps better controller support, resolution support, changing resolutions. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's they're very necessary, and like I said, even from archival purposes, there's a lot of games, like I was talking about, they're releasing a new Grid game, which they're calling Grid, which was the continuation of the Toka Race Driver series. Toka Race Driver 3, one of my favorite racing games on the PC, but you can't play it anymore. Can't play it anymore because it's locked to a DRM that is now obsolete and does not work on modern operating systems. It's like self-destructed itself. And it also seems like Codemasters has self-destructed the original Grid game. Grid 1, can't buy it anymore. Can't find it anywhere. Not stocked. Can't buy it on Steam. Can't buy it anywhere else. It's only because I already owned it that I was able to play it. So yeah, I feel like there is, and you look at folks like CoStar who have entire rooms dedicated. He built a Windows. Did he build a Windows 98 or a Windows 95 machine just so he could play old games that you can't play any way else? So yeah, I mean there's definitely an audience. There's definitely probably a small but strong community of people who want to preserve video game history, just like people want to preserve film history, music recording history, television history, even like old broadcast television shows and stuff like that. Speaking of archives, the Apollo 11, like there's websites archiving all the pictures, all the photography. There was a story about, I think somebody took to a converted like Pizza Hut or something like that that was shut down, and inside that building they had all the old tapes and film of the Apollo program, and they were converting it to digital, and it was like, I think it was a Kickstarter thing, I think is what it was, just to preserve it, even if it's completely banal and we find it to be unimportant, like a weird the audio track of some secondary, tertiary mission controller that really, you know, does nothing specific for the mission, but just because we right now, and certainly at the time, can't put value on keeping that archive, but many decades down the line, perhaps there will be value. So yeah, no, I don't consider it myself stealing, but I'm sure they do, and they'll do their darndest to make and or modify and or enforce laws to make sure it is stealing. But yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for that question. Uncle Hermit asked, between you and your girlfriend, well, then I'm not going to tell you if this is just between me and her. Between you and your girlfriend, who has the finer taste in coffee? Me? That sounds prepomptuous? Preposterous? Pompous. What's the word I'm looking for? My brain. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. No, not preposterous. Pompous. Pompous. I think that sounds pompous by like saying that I do. But like she has openly admitted that I make fancier coffee at home than pompously presumptuous. Pretentious even. Look at all these words that start with P. Everything good does. Cause yeah, like she even has like instant coffee that she's like, if I'm desperate, I'll do this instant coffee. She does at home. She makes coffee using a what's the stovetop? Like a Turkish coffee maker. There's a word for the type of little like silver looking thing. So that's fancier than most. A percolator? I think it's called a percolator. See, it also starts with P. So that's a fancier coffee than most people make. It's not a coffee pod Keurig thing, because that, I'm sorry, the relationship would not work out if that was the case. That is truly the bottom tier. But a pompous, presumptuous, pretentious percolator. Protuberance. But yeah, I have like the pour over French press. I think it comes down to that I buy the beans. I give it the beans. I buy the more expensive beans. Whereas I think we have a video title. Whereas she'll buy, like I said, she'll deal with instant coffee if she has to. But we both are not fans of Starbucks. Having visited Canada recently, how tempted are you to move there someday? Not really. I did, because it was any different from the America. From the America, it was pretty much the same, except for the kilometers and the loonies, toonies. Not really. Not really at all interested in moving there. Certainly, if I'm like only an hour and a half away, I can just pop up there anytime I want. And lastly, why is the game so laggy? I'm assuming this is a facetious question, based on the fact that in the YouTube comments. Everybody always asks that. It's not laggy. I could have the fastest computer in the world. And it would still look like this. It is the game. EA Sports. It is the game. By being so far from the 0, 0 coordinate, I think we're moving on the Z axis, speaking of Canada. As that number gets bigger and bigger, the position becomes less and less precise because there are only so many. Is it 16 or 32-bit? There's only so many spots, I guess you could say, for the number. So instead of making a bigger number with just more numbers, you know what I mean. Listen, I've got a cold. Instead of making a bigger number with more numbers, you only have a set amount of numbers. So you have to move the decimal. And as we get further and further, the number gets bigger and bigger, the decimal moves over and over. And that means you lose the fractions of a block. Therefore, we start jumping on the blocks like this. The jittery. I call it jittery, not laggy. And of course, this is also not necessarily speaking in the actual number, like the F3 number. It is the number that's held in binary that causes the floating point precision. There's a lot better explanation. Just look up floating point precision, and you'll find many explanations much better than my NyQuil drugged up brain can formulate at this moment. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. You're damn right that I almost did make a dirt boat. People are realizing that I looked at that dirt stack way too long as I was trying to make a boat. Listen, sick. All gross in my brain. Flash asked, loving hiking with your dog as much as you love it, have you considered doing a real-life charity flobathon, crossing your state with your dog and maybe some Farlanders? No, because I don't want to die. That seems terrible. That seems like a terrible idea. I mean, not a terrible idea, but a terrible idea for me. Mostly because I need to be at home in front of a computer to make my living. So to take, I don't know, how long would it take to hike across the state of Washington? Days, a week maybe? That would be too much. I've never even been camping. And yeah, part of that would be climbing up the mountains and into, like, snow. So that wouldn't be great at all. Spoiders? No, I've never considered that because that's not... Bye, sheep. That sheep just went downtown. That's not a thing I'm into. I've only ever done day hikes. I've never camped overnight. Yet, it's something I perhaps at some point would like to do. But even then, I'm not going to like hike 20 miles, camp, and then hike 20 miles back. It's going to be too much. So I'm going to say no. Just no to your question. I mean, there is a hike that a lot of people, well, I don't know about a lot, but that goes around Mount Rainier that takes like 6 or 7 days. It's like 100 and something miles. I forgot what it's called, like the Wonder Trail, Wonderland Trail, magical, fancy time, Fairyville Trail, something. Anyway, it goes around the base of Mount Rainier, and that seems cool. But again, doing the whole, you can do sections of the trail, but doing the whole trail takes like 7 or 8 days. Is this lava or is this cave? Nope, that's lava. All right. So yeah, no to that. I would rather do like a drive if I could find a car fast, cool, and reliable enough. Like I'm down with the like driving road trips. But then again, even that, how would I be able to do that and monetize it? Make content, hashtag content out of it. But hikes, no. I'm gonna say no. If I can find a car, says the guy with 3 cars. True, but the Corolla is too slow. As in, it can't drive on the highways over 45 miles an hour. Right now, the SVX is too leaky as far as the radiator is concerned. And the Crosstrek could do it, but not exactly an interesting vehicle to do it in. But, yeah. Indeed. Speaking of hikes, Aiden asked, what would you say are your favorite hikes that you've done since you moved to Seattle? I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. I've done both Heather Lake and Lake 22 twice. Those are really cool because they lead up to an alpine lake, which is extremely picturesque, very beautiful. So I do like the nice magical payoff there. Those are pretty difficult hikes, though. They can get nice and winded on the way up. Man, there was the Boulder Creek Trail was really nice that I did on New Year's, I think, New Year's Day. Boulder River, Boulder Creek Trail, something. But I didn't do the full thing because it started to rain, and I really wasn't prepared for that, and I had Juno. I mean, I was prepared, but I didn't want to hike in the rain. So I'm like, nuts to this, and turned around. So I'd like to do that full one, because that's just a really cool one across. It follows the river, and there's a bunch of waterfalls that are really picturesque you can walk down to and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Again, asking me, do you have a favorite of anything is a difficult task, indeed. But yeah, those few are pretty good. Skull Nova asked 2 questions. What's the strangest food combo you enjoy? And what would your plan be to survive a zombie apocalypse? Food combo. You mean like peanut butter and bananas, or, you know, something weird like that? Banana mayonnaise sandwich? The thing that's, I feel like, has surprised the last few people I've mentioned it to is chicken nuggets and honey. Instead of dipping it in barbecue sauce, you dip it in honey. I thought more people did this. Like, McDonald's used to actually, like, offer a packet of honey as, like, your dipping option. And I remember getting that a lot as a kid. So whenever I mention, yeah, you ever get the chicken nuggets and have it with honey? I haven't eaten it at McDonald's or a fast food place in many, many years, but that's what I remember as a kid. So yeah, nuggets and honey. Nuggets and honey are good. And there's a restaurant in Seattle that does fried cheese curds and honey. And I think that's where I brought it up with my girlfriend when I was there with her. Gluten-free restaurant, by the way. And it just reminded me of that. Yeah, there's honey barbecue sauce, but this is just straight up honey. It can be a bit much after a while, I will say. If you have a whole 9-piece chicken nuggets with honey, you're starting to intake a lot of sugar there. You're working on your diabetes. But yeah, that's the one I think that catches people like that I've had the most like, oh really? Reactions to. Woof. But yeah, no, I don't think I have anything like super weird. I put honey in my oatmeal. Yeah, that I could see. Like people put like syrup in their oatmeal or brown sugar in the oatmeal is good. I put oatmeal in my honey. Honey. What would you do to survive a zombie apocalypse? This is not something I've thought of ever, just because I'm not into the zombie stuff. I never rode that zombie wave of media. I don't know. Stay away from the zombies. Just pack up my car full of things and just drive. Keep driving. So, yeah, that's not something I've thought about. Like, that's a weird answer to try to come up with, because it's not like this one thing. It's like, okay, in order to survive a zombie apocalypse, you have to keep surviving if it doesn't just end, right? But thank you very much, Aiden, for your question. No, wait, that wasn't Aiden. That was Nova, the zombie apocalypse. Nova asked about the food combo and the zombie apocalypse. Indeed. Anonymous, lastly, asked, what piece of artwork that you created are you most proud? Ooh, that's a tough one. Just because I haven't created any art in a long time, so I'm having to think back into college. I don't know, honestly. I had an oil painting class, and we did figure painting with like live naked people. And there was one, like there was one of those, and I remember my teacher told me to like stop trying to be like thinking about it and just like, you know, blam, put paint on paper. So there was one I did like really fast, and it wasn't abstract or anything like that, but it was very simple, and I think it turned out well because of that. And that was a good lesson. But I also did a self-portrait with a banana floating above my head. My sister in Chicago has that now. That was probably like the one piece of art that was just kind of weird. That worked out all right. I don't know that it was particularly good. It really doesn't look too much like me. It's just like the upper half of my face with a banana floating, because why not? Little bit of surrealism there for you. You guys are gonna make me freak out and think you guys are creepers or something in the morning, aren't you? You damn pigs. I also, in sculpture, took apart a fan, like a room fan, and then on top of it, I put sculpted wires, and then as it spun, as the fan motor spun, the wires would move fast enough that they would blur together and create like a solid form, even though it wasn't a solid form. It was just wire. It was like a 2D to 3D, like in real life conversion. It was a good idea. It didn't work as well as I had hoped. I think if I had some sort of specific like lights, like really bright lights that shone onto the spinning wire, that it would have like made that blur a little bit more pronounced, and you could actually like see the various surfaces. But that was a neat idea that I really liked. That I've also seen recently, like other pieces of art and stuff kind of take that same concept and make it work. Indeed. Look at all this dirt. Dirt for Kurt. So yeah, that wraps up episode 746 of Far Lands of Bust. Thank you everybody for your questions. farlandsofbust.com. To keep donating, woo, running out of steam. Woo, buddy. To keep donating to Direct Relief Charity, farlandsofbust.com. Like I just said, thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. My brain, I'm sorry, it doesn't work.